I mean, it is training camp right now, so there's that. I didn't. What I want to talk about actually is, because it's recent and I kind of wanted to wait for the show to do it, was some of the rules with the changes.
Yeah, okay.
Because they've been, look, I see what the marketing side is hyping up that, we are the ally of the anti-tush push movement. We are on your side, know? And I love that Dean Blandino, I know he's always been against this, so like I could feel it. But it's funny. It's like, I did a little more research, and just as expected, there is no clear injury evidence that the tush push has ever actually caused severe problems with players. It's more, and I say it this way, it's what I think Dean says, even though I call it lazy officiating. They don't want to officiate it right. It's that simple,
Well, can we also talk about, Zach? And I'm pretty sure about this. I don't think we've ever seen the tush push in the UFL, USFL, or XFL.
This is the funniest part of this whole thing is we banned the tush push. Yeah, you mean the thing that has never been run, and you are totally putting this law in to just get in on a conversation?
It's like banning sellout attendances in the UFL. Like, it's a problem you don't have to fucking worry about.
All sellouts has to be sellout. No games played unless we sell all the tickets. Yeah, it's that simple. You have to buy the whole stadium.
Tush push, I get it. You know what? It's good marketing, if anything. It's because look, the thing that people are talking about.
It's absolutely a marketing gimmick thing. This is definitely, they've never had it. Same with and I'll be honest with you, there was a great clip, and I know United Football Media shared it with it was Dave Damashek on the Dan Le Batard show. And they were talking football. He was on there, and they brought up alternative football, because Damashek is a huge stan of the old USFL, AFL, and the history of it. He's an old NFL Network guy. Was a former lineman for the Pittsburgh Steelers, so big NFL history buff. And it was interesting because I think this also has brought us some interesting conversations on the 60-yard field goal combo. 4 points for 60-yarders now, which you and I have talked about maybe being a possibility in previous shows, but he flat out did not want any part of it. He called that instant gimmick. Now, is it a gimmick?
I think the NFL will adopt it. I think this is one of them. Funny enough, I like it. I think it's fine, especially because, look at what has been the most successful position going from spring football into the NFL. Mm-hmm. You'd have to say kickers. I mean, you look at the few that have made it through, they're not just on the team. They're solid members of those teams, right? Yes. You look at the Cowboys, you look at the Lions. And so I like this. And quite frankly, like I said, I think this is something that down the future, the NFL could steal from them. I'm not a huge fan of some of the other things, but let's stick with kicking, because the other thing we're seeing return is the return of the extra point kick. That I'm happy about. I'm glad to see kickers get their good or bad. Good or bad. You know what? You shank it, that adds to the game. I'd rather that than a 2-yard play or whatever the hell it is.
Look, that's a tangible stat. If we're talking, and I think this is why people want it back, is because if we're talking about, we hear about this from all the officials, even more so I think than I have in recent years, where it's this league is about getting people next level or your last stages of wanting to play. It's okay, great. So for kicking, which has been special teams have been the most successful vein to get new players from the UFL up and be stars, as we've seen. Brandon Aubrey, Jake Bates, Cavante Turbin, those are our guys we lean on as the spring football powerhouse guys. They're the ones that represent the alt leagues really the best right now. Mm-hmm. And so what's the best way of doing that? That's why people were pushing back on last year, where it's the XFL rules of going for it is cool, is kind of cool and all, and adds tension. But if we're really about development, shouldn't we do the XPs? Because that's a legitimate stat, and these guys do it's not just a chip shot anymore. You have to kick 30 yards out for these things now, for years. So that's where I'm yeah, makes logical sense. What ties into that though, and I know that someone's going to argue differently because I've had this argument in the past. Mm-hmm. I'm very upset that they took the 2 feet rule and turned it into 1 again. That pissed me off. That is a very much and you read it in the rules there too. If someone puts in a rule, it's about making the game more exciting. That takes away the purpose. The 2-foot rule, the reason they established it and stuck with it, you can call merger if you want. Personally, to me, it was because it's more tangible to one-to-one NFL.
You're more likely to get signed if you can get a
And you know where I'm going with this. Someone in the background's like, but the CFL does one foot. Dude, they're not going to the CFL. The UFL is not a stepping stone to the CFL. It's a stepping stone to the NFL. So why the hell are we doing 1 foot? You're not going to the Canadian Football League. You're out of college. This is pro-American football. This should be 2 feet. That's why people fought for this so much and were so pro about it when the merger happened, was because 2 feet is to show off your skills that you can balance, you can maintain and control catches out of bounds. There's some incredible catches we've seen in the last 2 years under the UFL. And I was really even more, the tush push was a total marketing gimmick. The 1 foot rule is just complete, like, well, now it's just about entertainment. We're just trying to get to, we just need anything. It's like, yeah, but if it's development, stick with 2 feet. Like, I don't know. And I can already hear some folks like, you're just putting salt. You're just being salty. You just been kind of this way. It's like, no. This is literally a development thing. That is how I view it. Like, you can throw water on me all you want about that, but like, why? We're not getting these guys sent to the CFL. This is NFL. I think NFL scouts, and I still stand by this. I guarantee you NFL scouts value 2 feet inbounds more than the 1 foot catches.
Because 1 foot gets them nothing in the NFL.
It shows body control better. It's body control. That's the thing. Yeah. That's what you have to do in the NFL. To get to the top level, you got to follow those rules and do it correctly. I don't get that. I personally think that was a stupid change, and it probably hasn't been talked enough about because the oxygen in the room has been so much about this freaking 60-yard field goal points and the freaking tush push stuff, because the tush push is so freaking volatile as a football discussion point. Like, we aren't talking enough about the 2 feet rule. Like, what the hell, guys? Like, that should not have been changed. That's bullshit. I'm going to say it like that.
I would put money on this, Zach. The main reason for that change was only so the league could give every other team a chance at beating the Gamblers, because they know that if you had 2 feet in bounds, you're not beating the Gamblers.
It was always to try and knock down that 12-0.
Yeah, and they're not going to get it. It doesn't matter. You can change all the rules you want,
but
we're getting it.
What the hell am I was going to say? Oh no, I'll have this joke. You keep going. I have the joke. Oh, there it is. As Crowded House used to say, don't let them win. Don't dream it's over. We're going to get the 2 feet back. We're gonna get the 2 feet back if we just fight. If we fight like hell, we're going to get the 2 feet back.
You know what I'm looking at here, though? So there's a couple things that are also interesting about this. So overtime, they're going from 5 to 3 attempts. Okay, yeah, fine. They're trying to save some time. I think that's for speed,
personally. Yeah. I bet the networks asked for that just in case.
Now, what I do like about this, though, so, okay, we talked about the 1 point conversion. So that's traditional, 33-yard line, blame Bob's your uncle. 2 point conversion, you would think maybe at a 5. No, they're putting it at the 2.
Mm-hmm.
So, funny enough, I think we're going to see a lot of teams going for 2. Just based on that, because I mean, if you're at the 2-yard line for 2 points, okay.
So all right. So remember this too, because in the USFL, that was the big combo. Was the 1 extra point is often seen as the safer option, like even analytics wise. So I'm wondering if they were trying to, and just so I can hear it,
get a good middle.
It's 2 points from the 2, right?
2 from the 2, whereas USFL was 2 from the 5. And so there was a good gamble there because, okay, from 5 yard, but from 2 yard, it's pretty close to 50-50, right? So I think that is done that way to where you do get a good mix of kicking. Because let's say you're up. There's no reason to muck around with that 2 unless you really need that extra point to like.
And I think what they did, so I was curious as soon as I said this again, I was like, wait a minute, isn't that the NFL's line yards? And it is. So, I think what they're trying to do is like, look, we'll do the NFL standard with the points. So like, it's a little more balanced on the risk because the 2-yard line, 3 yards is a difference. Like that is from the short distance and how much less you have to throw in that space, and even more where it's constrained to like defenses are packed in for the run. So like the 5-yard line will be hard. I get why people didn't do it there. The 2-yard line, the traditional one right now that the NFL's had since 1994, as it says, that's a little bit more fair in terms of balance if you want to take that risk. And I think that's what they're trying to do is like, look, analytics-based football now these days, you're seeing a lot more two-point conversions going for, a lot more fourth downs. Like, take that gamble. We'll give you the easier chance to give you that gamble, and the three-pointer will leave and still leave that as almost your Hail Mary option, which I forget. They say that was at
they moved that. So that's at the 8-yard
Okay,
now.
I thought so. So that's at the 8-yard line now, which
is a little more,
is a lot more reasonable now. Like that's not that's not like 10 yards out. 2 yards difference is definitely better, and you get some more space to throw still. So I'm curious. Like I said, will coaches stay with the XP or will they go back because it's traditional 2-point? Do they try and do that more now? And the 3 is probably still going to be reserved for like, we're desperate and in a comeback scenario, we need this. I just don't see people using that unless it's for that because that's all they have used it since the 3-point's been in alternate.
Except for June Jones. June Jones, he was fine with it that first season. He got drunk on the 3-point play in Seattle, and it only worked once, I think, for him.
Yeah,
it was pretty bad. But that was, I think, from the 15, right? Or maybe it was in the 10 in the XFL.
That one was,
maybe the USFL was 15. Maybe it was 12. I don't know.
Well, now you got me to double check myself here. Yes, it was from the 10. I thought it was from the 10. So the original setup used to be the 3-tier scrimmage system of the 2-yard line for 1, 5 for 2, 10-yard line would be for 3. So that's evolved over time, of course. But now the new one is now, XP kick, 2 from the 2-yard, 3 from the 8-yard. So it's trying to balance out because look, I think we've had this combo where, and others have on other shows too, I get from that, where it's like the coaches don't want to take the risk unless they feel it's like worth the risk, where it's like, okay, analytics football says that this percentage means that we can go for it and we have a better shot at doing this than said other thing. So better incentive means shorter yards, which means more opportunity to score. So I'm hoping that I think the 2-pointer is going to be more accessible this year than ever, but we'll see how much they do the kicks again. Because kicks it's pretty high consistency. You're going to get that 1 extra point compared to a 2-pointer from the 2, even by NFL standard and by their data, which historically, apparently it's 47% success rate since 1994 when that rule was implemented. So fun fact.
Okay. Okay. So about 50-50.
Yeah. About 50-50.
Yeah.
About 50-50.
Yeah.
I think I'm just because I'm not missing any other rules, am I?
There's probably some other stuff hidden in they say something about a new kickoff rules. Kickoff line, kick from the 30-yard line, 10 remaining players from the kickoff team while receiving team's 45-yard line.
How could I not do this? How could I not do this? I am such a goober. The kickoff one was one thing, but the punt rule. How could I leave the show without talking the punt rule? So this whole thing, man, and I had a question about this. So reiterating, as you and I have read this, so no punting inside the 50-yard line of the opposing team. So once you get past the 50 on the field, you have to go for it on 4th down. And actually inside, yeah. So once you get to 49 plus is what. So if it's on the 50, you don't have to do it. If it's 49 and beyond, yeah, you gotta go for it. Or actually, maybe it's no.
Think about this, Zach. Okay, let me run this scenario. 3rd down.
Mm-hmm.
3rd down on the 50. You're probably not running it. You don't want a yard.
So this is the thing,
right?
Though, if the 1st down marker is beyond it, that's where you have to.
Well, that's what I mean. So if you're on the 50, let's say it's 3rd and 10 and you're on the 50. You're not going to run that ball. Mm-hmm. You're going to throw it and try to get 10 or more.
Right. So,
which to me is great, kind of, except for the other team is always going to know your play.
I know. It adds some weird strategy because the other thing I was curious about too that got answered with this ruling was, are they going to make it where if you break the seal of the 50-yard line, you are committed to that rule? Because the other trick would be, I'm at the 48 or something. I'm just going to delay a game, go back 5 yards and punt. And they wrote the rule by law says that if you break the 50, you are committed to no punt. So yeah, that then implies your situation where it's like, what if it's like 3rd and 8 and you're at the 48? Do I, for the preservation of my field position, do I just say, screw it, I'm just going to punt it? Or do I, because I think what they believe is they're all just going to be aggressive. But thinking coaching wise and thinking like, say, defensive coaches in particular, I'm going to make them drive the freaking field. This is spring football. These guys are still like these guys aren't all like 100% like in unison teams every year. We see this because it's short training camps. So it's like, oh no, I'll just freaking, and credit, you can't cough and kick. We know that still is a rule. But if you have a good enough punter that can pooch it and get it like down inside the 10, like, and make the guy and make it just die there, I mean, that's your risk. Or you just do a touchback, which is just like, I don't know. I'm very fascinated to see how this works. If people just stay aggressive, or if some of them get a little skittish. Some teams can live and die by that, though.
Yeah.
So.
I'll say this too. Spring football, I feel like we're going to see a lot of coaches looking at that decision. That 50-yard line is where a lot of those drives die, right? So we'll see probably within the first 2 weeks how coaches are handling that situation.
And it's fascinating.
Here's the other thing. There's going to be coaches that do this and not even know that rule exists.
Right.
We know that.
And that rule, I think, goes in unison almost with the 4-point field goals. Because think about it. If you have a kicker that has a 60-yard kick and say you did go past that line a little bit, or if you're comfortable kicking from like the 50, or actually, no, you have to go past the line still, because it's usually 7 yards to the holder and then about 12 yards end zone plus whatever distance you have to kick. So, usually you do have to get past the 50 in some way to do a 60-yarder. So that is incentive. It's like, okay, well, you still can go for the kick. It's still risky. 60 yards aren't gimmies. They're getting more common, but at least you don't have to go for it in that vein. And you get like basically over half a touchdown, which is something else that came up in the Damashek episode too, or either that or someone else I was listening to, was, do we see field goals become prevalent more so because, well, we can't get the touchdowns, but we can at least get the field goals. And so, I'm not saying that happens.
Well, think about the Stars with Luis Aguilar back in the day. He was knocking them down. I mean, had they had 4-point field goals, the Stars might have won a couple more games.
Dude still drains 6 field goals in a game, for a win. That still is crazy. I still have the highlight saved on my phone from making that. I had a great time making that one. But yeah, I've thought about that one too. Interesting rule set and how they had. And then the only other one on here, coin toss, red zone penalties being reverted back to half the distance to the goal. Penalties committed in red zone, so it's NFL rule again. I mean, that's a good strategy one if you want to underlie that. I don't remember what the old red zone penalty format was for that, but that covers it. I just think, fascinating rules, because some of it plays into how the UFL is marketing itself. I'm going to be honest with you, which that's just, if you're not seeing that, I'm sorry, but like I said, the tush push being a rule is just totally to get people buzzed about that they're not using the tush push. There's no history of either of these leagues merge, but pre or post merger using the tush push. So it's a posturing move just to be like, oh, we're just doing it because it's the hot button topic right now. They won't admit that, but Other than that, I like the field goal one. I think I do like overall. The no punting inside the 50. We'll see how it plays out. I am more curious about that. And then, get back to 2 feet. That's a load of crap that you're doing 1 foot. I don't care if it's entertainment value. This is a development league, and you're a pro football league in America. It's 2 feet. I don't know. That's annoying to me. So yeah.
I agree with you there. The rest of them aren't that bad. The 2 foot thing, the second I saw that, I was like, come on with that. And I know there's a certain crowd of people out there that love it, and sign them up. You know what? I'm not. Is it going to make me not watch the game? No. But there's going to be some scenarios where I'm like, you with that stupid 1 foot rule changed the whole game.
I remember, and I know some people did love this catch. But I remember a game, St. Louis and Seattle in 2023, and it was Lucky Jackson, and he caught this ball really pretty. It was a crazy move in terms of like he got the foot extended like very last minute to just like toe drag it. But I'm like in my head, and I posted about this too at the time on X. I was like, it's cool and all until you realize that it's like, it doesn't actually look. It's not worth a damn in the NFL. Like it's not an NFL worthy catch. Which again, if they're leaning heavier more and more into development and getting in the NFL, catches like that dude Jack to get people into the NFL, in my opinion, you know?
Oh, for sure.
So
if anything, it probably hurts them.
Yeah.
I don't think it's helping anybody out there because, yeah, let's say you have an all-star season, but like, I don't know, 3 of your big-time catches are 1 foot in bounds. Like you said, Zach, the scout isn't not noticing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
they're writing down all of these
receivers
details.
Is a real thing. Like that is a big skill to have, you know, and receivers are already a super competitive skill position anyway. So like any edge you can get that shows that you are a step above, like I feel like that's a thing to show. But I don't know. I know there are folks out there, even in our own PFN group, that would say that I am crying. What is it? Clutching my pearls or some stupid crap like that. I've heard that before. Like, I'm like, yeah, well, you know, maybe we should expect actual pro standard is how I view it. So that's just my 2 cents.